Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie, and welcome back to another Premier League DraftKings DFS soccer slate. Let's get right into it. Just 2 days till Christmas, as after the slate. So, hope everyone has a good time over the holidays, and hopefully a good Boxing Day after that. I know I saw that DraftKings has some pretty big contests for it. So, yeah, in terms of today, though, on this slate, we've got Fulham minus 100. That Man City game got postponed as they're in the Club World Cup right now, or I think just ended it. Newcastle minus 100. Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth both plus, and then Tottenham minus 100. So no huge favorite here. A couple of slight favorites. And here's one of them. Fulham Burnley. Fulham have been insane at home the last couple of games. We've seen them win like 5-0 2 times in a row. So they're no joke at home. Although they did have Raul Jimenez during both those games, and now they're not going to have him because of his dumb red card against Newcastle. In terms of set pieces, Pereira very much mostly, maybe a little bit of Wilson, maybe a little bit of Kearney, but I doubt it at this point considering what they've done recently. For Burnley, Brune Larsson's been taking everything when there's no good Munson. So if it's this lineup, I expect him to do that again. Maybe a pinch of Brownhill, or maybe even Brownhill decides to take everything again. But for now, it's been Brune Larsson, and he's been doing well. Luton Newcastle. Set pieces, Doughy Monopoly right now. They scored off of his corner in the game that got unfortunately postponed because of Tom Lockyer. I have all wishes that he recovers well. For Newcastle, Kieran Trippier Monopoly. We've had a really bad last couple of games. If you watch the EFL Cup game, he gave away or he missed his penalty kick and he kind of made a mistake on the Chelsea goal. So hoping he bounces back here. I still think he's a good play. Nottingham Forest Bournemouth. We got Nuno's first game here, so we're not completely sure what set pieces will end up as. I think considering he's only been here a little bit, I doubt he's probably had time to kind of get his sets down to what he wants. So I'm gonna assume for now it's just gonna be Toffolo and Gibbs White splitting again, and we'll see next game if he changes things up. For Bournemouth, Tavernier and Cook split. Tottenham. Right now, this is Pedro Porro's team. He's taking like 95% of set pieces. We might see Kulu take one or two, but it's been very largely Porro. This might be the last time we get a Porro monopoly, considering Madison's probably going to be back soon. But let's enjoy while we have it. For Everton, Dwight McNeil and James Garner split. They just do the in-swinger Deitch ball, and they've been playing well. So we'll see how they do here. In terms of prices, forwards, Son is the most expensive guy. He's been one of the best forwards in the Premier League this season without Kane. Like he's going to be an interesting play, I think for sure. I assume Everton are going to sit back a bit and go back to true Deitch ball and just play counterattack, go for set pieces. Dwight McNeil, he's been really good. I don't know if this is the matchup for him, considering how and Big Ange plays and just holds possession. So I don't know how much McNeil can really get there in terms of floor. That's my worry with him. Gordon's questionable. He was in projected. He's been super hot. He came off injured against Chelsea, so I'm not sure he'll play, but he might. And I don't think he's that crazy of a play if in considering how Luton are. Solanke, he's come down a little bit from what he was last game in their postponed game. I still think he's a little much for what I'm looking for, but GPP, it's definitely interesting. Callum Wilson, I think Ishak is back healthy, so I don't know exactly how much game time we're really going to see him get now. Like, I don't think he goes 90 again. Oh, wait, maybe Ishak isn't back. Let me make sure now. I thought he was back. But he's questionable, so he might be back. 50-50. If he's on the bench, then it really scares me for Callum Wilson. But if we see no Ishak, I like we saw Callum Wilson go 90 when there's no Ishak on the bench. I'm definitely interested in that then. But Charleston, is there a Charleston revenge game? Like he seems like the type who'd be really up for that. So I could definitely see myself playing a little bit over Charleston. I don't know if cash, but GPP definitely will have a share. Gibbs White, I think Bournemouth's a pretty good matchup for him. I know he's been splitting sets, but he's still Nottingham Forest's best player in terms of both goals and having set pieces. So I'm interested in that for sure. Almiron did really good last game. I know that Fulham had that red card, which skewed it a little bit, but that's not a bad little play right there. Brune Larson, set pieces, 7,500. That's definitely a viable play. We saw him get 16 points against Everton. I worry a little bit that because Burnley had so many set pieces and didn't really do anything from them, that they might switch again. So that is something to think about when playing him. Iwobi's been super hot, or sometimes super hot. Very hit or miss, actually. DPP, I think he's a good play considering you see him have these boom games or terrible games. So that's the kind of volatility you're looking for in GPP, that chance of a 20. In terms of cash, I don't think he's really worth that considering you could get the two. You just kind of want consistency out of cash more than anything else. Goodmunson's questionable. That's interesting. It makes me a little bit more liking of Brune Larson since I think or Goodmunson takes more than him when he's in. So if he's not on the bench, should lead to Brune Larson monopoly for the entire game if they stick to that, or unless he gets subbed, which he does a lot too, to be fair. Alanga, I don't think that's that bad. He's been pretty good. There's kind of a lot of forwards I'm interested in here, which is rare for me. Carlos Vinicius, we might see him start a striker with no Raul. I'm interested in whoever starts for Fulham, I think, just because of the matchup and how good they've been at home recently. And I think it's just going to give me a discount at forward no matter who's starting. However, there is a guy that I'm looking for that I know is going to be ultra owned, and it's right here, Rodrigo Muniz. He's in projected to play the 9. He's been pretty bad, but like a 3K forward on a minus favorite, you just have to go for it. In cash and GPP, you'll have a lot in everything. Midfielders. James Madison's still out for now. It's a 7 weeks. We'll see when he gets back fully. Tavernier. I really like him as a player. I think he's super solid. He had 13 points at the 60th minute before that Luton game got abandoned. So he's just maybe a little expensive now. I worry a little bit about. Kulusevski, I think this is a great play. Talking about that insane game against Nottingham Forest. Like he gets minimum 8 points most times out. I really like Kulusevski here. And then there's Pereira. I love him. He's getting priced up a little bit more and more, but this is his kind of matchup right here. Home game against a relegation threatened team. Like we saw those numbers last 2 times at home. I like Pereira a lot. He didn't even get a goal in either of these, just a couple of assists. It means that he shows he can go a lot higher than that too. Dowie, I don't think that's a bad price for him, honestly. 6,800. I worry about his upside a little bit, and Newcastle is a pretty possession-based team, so you're never exactly sure how much he's gonna get the opportunity to get forward and get crosses in. But for 6,800, it's probably worth the risk considering if he gets forward, he will get those crosses. Mike Tresor, I think he's their backup the set taker for Burnley. He doesn't play that much. I assume he won't be in, but if he is, that's maybe potentially interesting. I'm not sure. Harry Wilson, play him in a foam stack. He's one of their better attackers. If there's no Raul Jimenez, I don't know where the goals exactly come from. On paper, Muniz would pick up the slack, but I don't know if he's even scored a goal for them. So you could definitely see Harry Wilson or the other winger, it will be get in on the action if Fulham were to score a bunch again. Tom Kearney, if we see like Pereira rotated or something that makes Kearney a cam, he's pretty interesting. I know he's been pretty good in those rollout games that they've played, and he's been having a pretty decent floor. I just don't really see how that he can consistently do that from his position. So I worry about that a little bit. 5,700 is not a bad price. Brownhill, if we see no Brune Larson, that's not bad. Maybe he'll end up starting to take again. I think he did a little bit against Everton. at one point. James Gardner, I like him. I think this is just not the matchup, although he's pretty cheap. Lewis Cook, I'll always play a little bit of Lewis Cook. I don't know how exactly he did against Luton that game that got postponed, but I'll always have my share. Excuse me. Barkley, if there's somehow no Dowie he should take, he might even take anyway. Not a bad little play for 4,500. 4K Harrison Reed, he took a little bit in their cup game. I know Pereira didn't play, but if he's in for that price, I don't think that's that crazy. Justin Cliver, I like him a lot as a player. I don't think he did anything against Luton, but for 4K, I think you do a lot worse. That's a pretty good price for a bargain. Hoiberg, if he's in, I don't think that's a bad punt. 3K on a big favorite, you take that. And then not really feeling the rest out here. All right, defenders. There's a couple of big name defenders on this slate. Kieran Trippier, Ben Insane, Pedro Porro. Ben Insane. If I was to prioritize one of them, it'd be Pedro Porro, just because I feel like Tottenham just have a little bit more upside with how far they push their fullbacks. Like I've seen quite a few like he's got a bunch of goal contributions recently. Yeah, like 3 assists in his last 5 games. Love Pedro Porro here. Although I think you end up just probably playing both of them and finding value elsewhere. Like I'm always a big defender guy, and there's two top ones here. Anthony Robinson, this is not a bad defender to get off of the popular Trippier and Porro. You can get a little bit of savings. He's been good. He just always seems to get there. I could see myself even going all three of them with the Pereira, a little bit of Fulham stack because we know they have a couple of cheap guys like Muniz and build a team like that. So yeah, a lot of good. These three are all really good defender options for different reasons. Tete, I think he's just a little bit. Oh, he's been pretty good actually. I still think he's probably a little bit worse than Anthony Robinson. It could be Castagna there anyway, who is just not great for DFS. Yeah. We continue going down. Toffolo, I don't think he's worth the risk here. I know he got there against Tottenham. I wouldn't stick to that though, considering we don't even know if he's going to take anymore, and he's not shown great floor other than that game. Like that's pretty rare. He's super set piece reliant, and we don't even know if he will have set pieces. All these other guys I think are fine. Like I said, I think you're just probably going two of these three or somewhere even lower, like a punt if you have to. Like, so I'm not really that interested in the mid range. Christian Romero's never that bad of a GPP play. Like, he gets quite a few. He's got 3 goals already this year. You just pair him with Pedro Porro, hope for a goal from a set piece. I don't mind that. Like these other guys, I don't know if they have the upside or can even compete with the floor of those top 3 options up there. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna go too deep into any of these guys considering I'm not gonna have much of them anyway. Going down to the punts, like an Issa Diop. I like the Fulham punts. You pair him with Pereira, hope for another onslaught, hope for a goal from one of the center backs with the Pereira assist. So yeah, Branthwaite, if he's a left back, that's not a bad last man in. I don't know if Everton's going to continue their many clean sheets in a row, but if he's at left back, you hope for a few tackles. Like you know that Tottenham's like Kulu or whoever's on that right wing is going to be running at it. You might get a tackle or two. So for 2,600, I don't think that's bad. And then I don't know if there's any of these other guys. Connor Roberts, if he plays 2,500, is good. Although he hasn't been playing anyway. So yeah, in terms of core, I'd plug both these guys in and I'd go Pereira probably. Then could I go like a Son here? Let's see if that works. You could definitely do that with Muniz and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna get to Tottenham here. I'm getting to Fulham here, and those are my top 2 teams on this slate. I think Fulham because of their pricing, Tottenham because of their ability to really get forward and make things happen. Like that game should be high scoring just because of how Tottenham play and Everton going back on the counter attack. So yeah, I think it's actually a pretty straightforward slate here. No set piece takers. go Fulham for value, and then go from there. So guys, hope you enjoyed this preview. Still like another week or so left of the Discord being free. So if you haven't checked it out yet, come join. I'm in the soccer room every slate, not just Premier League. And hopefully I do a good enough job that you'll consider sticking around after this little free period. So yeah, everyone, have a nice time over holidays, and I'll see you for a Boxing Day preview in a little. Have a good one.